Hi guys, I'm Lindsay Serrato with Sizzix, and today you and I are going to make this tassel jewelry set complete with a pair of earrings and a necklace. But before we get started, let's go over tools and materials. So the first thing I want is my Sizzix Big Shot machine. And if you have a Big Shot jewelry studio at home with you already, you have everything you need. But if you don't, if you only have the Big Shot, you can get a Movers and Shapers Shuttle that works for your Movers and Shapers die. And then all we need is one cutting pad to complete our sandwich. In addition, we want our tassel die set complete with 3 dies. You want some white Sizzix cowhide. I use Fiebing's Leathercraft cement glue for this project, and I have a little dish here with the glue sitting in it and a little brush. I have 2 pairs of pliers and some wire cutters. These are the materials you're going to need. Over here on my right, I have my earring pieces. I have my selected beads, 4 eye pins, they're about 2 inches long, 4 small jump rings, about 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters wide, and a set of earring hooks. Over here are my necklace pieces. So my selected beads, 2 eye pins, 1 lobster clasp, a large jump ring about 3 to 4 millimeters wide, and 3 small jump rings. These show you the meat and potatoes of our pieces before we integrate the leather, so you can just see how they're put together. And last but not least, I have some silver chain. So let's get started. First, let's cut our leather. So I'm actually going to take my white cowhide, and I can cut all 3 pieces on this one piece of cowhide. So what I'm going to do is take my Movers and Shapers shuttle. I'm going to fit all of my movers and shapers on here, and they're facing up, so the blade is actually facing up. And you can see that these are magnetic, so they stay in place, which is really handy. And what I always want to remember is that when I cut, I want my blade to touch the front side of my leather, always, always. So I'm going to flip this upside down and place it on top of my dies and finish my Sizzix sandwich with 1 cutting pad and just roll that on through. Rolls like butter. You would think that cutting something as thick as leather is pretty difficult, but it really moves through the machine very easily. And now we can get started with gluing. So I have my Fiebing's glue, and when I roll my tassels, I want to make sure that I'm rolling them as tight as I possibly can. That's one thing to remember. So I'm going to flip it upside down and just start from one end, roll it as tight as I can, go as slow as you need to. And remember, you don't have to use the full length of the die piece. If you want a thinner cylinder, if I want to stop it right here, all I have to do is take a pair of scissors and clip it. This project is your project. And in addition, you can make the fringe piece even shorter. So that's an option. So once we get to the end of this tassel, I'm going to apply a little bit of glue, my Fiebing's glue, right here. And it is going to ooze out of the edge right here, so I don't even need to take the glue all the way to that edge. It'll ooze out on its own. And I just finish rolling it up. And you do have some drying time, but this glue it dries pretty fast, so you don't have to wait that long. Now that we have our tassel all rolled up, we're going to start applying our belt piece. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue and apply it to the back. And if I want to, I can cut my belt piece shorter to fit the perfect length around the circumference of the tassel, but I don't have to, so I'm just going to apply it along the top part and just let that dry. And now we're going to start gluing our earring tassel, which is this angled one right here. And a different gluing method, it's up to you, but what you could do is start by applying the glue. Before you even start rolling it, you can apply it across the entire length of your band. If you don't roll it tight enough, this actually helps you keep the tassel wound up. So I'm actually going to start winding it from the longest length of this angled tassel right here, as tight as I can. And you can see how the glue is seeping. We're pushing the glue out. So we're going to need to do a little bit of cleanup, but that's fine. This glue dries very clear. And you can also choose to add a band around your 2 earrings. So now we're going to start to assemble our earring. And our earring assembly is very similar to our necklace one. So I'm going to take my earring tassel, and I may or may not have a belt around it, but I'm going to take that and 1 eye pin, and I'm actually going to end up sticking the eye pin inside in the top of this tassel. So I want to shorten the eye pin. So I'm going to take some wire cutters. I'm going to cut about 1 inch off of it, almost half of that. Just chop that off. And then I'm going to dip it in some glue, because when I stick this eye pin inside my tassel, I want it to stay forever. And even if you rolled your tassel up pretty tightly, you still might want to glue it. So I'm going to just stick that in there. You might have some excess glue. You can wipe it away. It'll also dry clear. So we're going to let that dry. And we're going to start with our beadwork. So I'm going to take another eye pin and thread my beads through the eye pin. And if I have beads where the holes are small enough, it'll just sit at the bottom, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to thread those through. And now you can see that there's a lot of extra room on here. So once again, I'm going to clip off the extra room, but not all the way to the base, because what I'm going to do is make another eye on the other side of this. So I'm going to clip off some of it. And then I'm going to take some pliers. And this might take a little bit of practice, but you're actually going to bend the end of this in a loop. See what I'm doing right here? Just bend it in a loop. And once you hit that barrier, you can take it out and you can smush that end so that it stays completely shut. And your eye might not be a perfect circle, but that's okay. As long as it's completely shut, you're good. So now that we have our beads threaded, let's get started on connecting them to our jump rings. I'm going to take a small jump ring here, and if you've never used jump rings before, it's important to know how to open and close them properly. So what I'm going to do is find that little cut in the jump ring, and I'm going to use 2 pairs of pliers. One right here, I hold it on the side, and my cut is right at the edge of that pair of pliers. Now I'm going to take my other pair and connect it on the other side, and rather than pulling apart, I want to pull 1 pair of pliers forward and 1 pair of pliers backward towards me. So it's almost like pulling it side to side rather than completely apart. Now I can take my jump ring and thread it through my eye pin, just like that. And what I'm going to do before I close it is take this earring hook and also thread it through. And make sure that that is completely closed, as you can see right here. I want to do the same thing on the other side. Apply a jump ring, and then all I have to do is thread my other eye pin on my tassel through that jump ring. I've already cut out a piece of chain to the length that I want, so now let's connect our lobster clasp to it. So I'm going to take my lobster clasp and a small jump ring and apply the lobster clasp to one end of my chain with the jump ring as the connector. Now on the other end, I want to apply my largest jump ring. So once I attach the beadwork to the tassel, I took the entire tassel and attached the top of it to my chain. And now my project is done.